Hello everybody and welcome back. It is good to talk to all of you again today, and today I'm going to address a comment in particular about Hood's AA. And this was from Maximum47, who copy and pasted a link to another YouTube video showing Hood's A decimating aircraft. And Maximum says, I hope you're happy. Is the Hood competitive enough for you now? Seriously though, if you go full AA build on Hood, you can get the rocket AA damage to 3000 plus with its unique defensive AA consumable. Okay, I guess, we'll sort of talk about the Hood's AA first and why sometimes when you look at things done in certain contexts, it doesn't really show the full picture. Hood's AA is unique, very unique. It's insanely powerful when its UP rocket launchers are, undamaged and they're still there. Huge boost to damage, insane amount of firepower. But the thing that most people don't realize is that they're incredibly fragile. How fragile, you ask? Well, the UP rocket launcher durability is 200 hit points. The 40mm Bofors durability is 300 hit points. So even if you actually used the module to increase the HP by 100%, it's still going to get killed very, very easily by HE. And 3 of the UP launchers are incredibly easy to kill. Now, in contrast, if you look at like the larger dual-purpose AA guns, they're a lot more durable. Like the Colorado's 127mm, 800 HP. So this is with all 5 UP launchers intact. And you'll see that I'm pretty much able to, well, do some really serious damage. Fully spec'd for AA here, including flag and everything. Manual AA is enabled. I am control clicking these aircraft. It's not showing up in the replay. And you'll see that the planes do melt quite quickly. And I'm able to devastate most of those squadrons. The torpedo bombers that came in pretty much devastated as well. The reason I'm doing a test when my ship is completely not moving is because as a bomber, as a CV player, depending on which direction you approach the ship from, gives you a shorter or longer exposure to the AA. So if somebody was to come, and this is the ideal attack angle against the Hood, is to come directly in while the Hood's moving. Now, from the front, this will minimize the amount of time you spend in the AA bubble. Now, with 4 UP rocket launchers, AA damage is still pretty lethal. As you'll see, planes are still going to melt. I'm still going to be able to delete aircraft, out of the sky. So, very, very strong AA with 1 UP rocket launcher gone. But you take another one out. So you go from 4 down to 3, and what you're going to start to notice is that, yeah, you can still shoot down planes, like as they're, getting away from you. You can still shoot a bunch of them down as they are retreating back to the carrier, but on the way in, you do a lot less. So with 3 rocket launchers, and again, I'm facing attacks by a human player who is going to drop me en masse, essentially. I'm not going to have the same amount of time to control click all the different squadrons. You'll notice that typically one squadron goes down, and then by then you pretty much have no time as the other squadron's already on you. And of course, if you combine that with like a torpedo bomber drop, even if it's an auto drop coming from the side, Hood's A just gets overwhelmed. Yeah, especially with 3 launchers, you're gonna be able to take down the planes, at least one squadron on the way in and maybe a squadron on the way out, but after that, not that much power left. Yes, in some cases, if the CV player screws up, in this case with only 2 UP rocket launchers, I am able to kill a bit more aircraft as they're a little bit more spread out and I had a little bit more time to control click all of them. But still, look at the rate at which I'm able to shoot down the squadron. It slows down compared to when I had 3, maybe even 4. It slows down, and the only reason I even did so well is because the squadrons just gave me a little bit too much time with a little bit too much space, and the torpedo bomber came in a little bit later than expected. So able to do quite well there. The 2 UP rocket launcher is actually quite, the number of launchers is actually quite significant because 3 of the launchers are relatively easy to kill. With the sort of bow-on playstyle that we have, if you have HE spam that hits your number 2 turret, that UP rocket launcher dies very easily. And if you give a broadside and people target your forward superstructure area near the sort of number 1, the forward funnel, that area, if it gets hit by HE, those 2 UP rocket launchers die also very easily. And also, of course, by the way, when you only have 1 UP rocket launcher, your AA, even with defensive up, is just not doing much at all. The two surprisingly hard to kill off UP rocket launchers, and it might be because, in testing we were hitting them sort of at more of a flat angle, and maybe they're very vulnerable to shells coming at a bit more of an arc, are actually the two in the midsection of the ship, so basically the aft superstructure area. Those two are actually surprisingly hard to kill. So generally speaking, sort of mid-game, maybe late game-ish, as a hood, you're really only looking at maybe two, maybe even one rocket launcher remaining, and you're pretty vulnerable. So if you're CV and you see a hood, and she stays in the way that she stays right now, what you're going to be looking at is early game, she's a no attack target. You kind of want to just leave her alone. However, by the later stages of the game, as her A gets taken out, as long as you're approaching sort of head on and you're masked up, Hood's not really going to be doing all that great. What you don't want to do with Hood is you don't want to spend a lot of time inside that close range AA zone by coming up from the rear. And of course, remember, she is a pretty fast ship, so she can actually, make more distance, and it'll take longer for you to get to her, thereby increasing her lethality with her AA. However, if you're coming in again from the bow as she's sailing forward, you minimize the time that you're spending in her AA bubble, reducing the amount of planes you are likely to lose when you attack this particular ship. So that's pretty much all the thoughts about the Hood's AA so far. After you've seen this, what do you think? Does it change your opinion a little bit? Do you see it a little bit differently? Let me know in the comment section below. Aside from all that, oh, there is one other thing I forgot to mention. Darn it, this is something I want to talk about. Going back to the comment where somebody asked me if I was happy with the changes. Well, not really, because this is not really what I thought the changes would be. I thought that in terms of changes, what they would have done was buffed her turret traverse a little bit. Maybe 4 degrees per second would have been a reasonable buff. I thought that they might have given the Hood 2.0 Sigma, something very similar to what the Warspite has, giving the British Royal Navy battleships that excellent accuracy, maybe. And since Hood is like a tier 7 battleship and having to deal with up to tier 9 ships, I thought that they could just have tweaked the Krupp value a little bit and made the Krupp value higher. I mean, Krupp for wargaming really is that fine-tuning variable for penetration. They could just move that number up a couple hundred or whatnot, and penetration will get better by that much percent. So I think that those were things that I would have thought, oh, they could have worked on, not the direction that they ended up going with, these AA changes and that weird auto bounce thing. It's just not really all that necessary. The only other thing I think I would have liked would have been a slightly more agile rudder, and that is something that they have done. So that is a good change. The Hood is a little bit more agile now, and I definitely do like that aspect of her. Aside from all that, yeah, just a little odd that they've decided to go full-on 100% like gimmicky stuff with Hood. Not really what I thought that was needed for the ship. But unfortunately, I don't control their development decisions, so they're really going to do what they're going to do. All right, folks. Hope you had enjoyed this little insight into the Hood's AA. That's still a work in progress. So from all that, take care. Have yourselves a good one, and I'll talk to all of you again soon.